next panel titled Slay the Spotlight, the Art of Being Memorable. It is all about what it really takes to stand out on stage, online, and in the moments that really matter. Being unforgettable is really important in a world that's really overflowing with content and competition. I mean, we are truly overstimulated with the amount of things that we consume daily. So it's only the unforgettable that really has impact. And being unforgettable is never accidental. It's a skill, it's a strategy, and sometimes it's even a superpower that I'm sure all of us are trying to develop. Guiding this conversation is our moderator, Mr. Tushar Kalawata. Put your hands together in a massive round of applause. He is the co-founder and creative director of Ad Unit Media Network. Please welcome our moderator with a warmer round of applause. Joining him, we have Prajakta Mahwara, the founder and managing director of Device Management Consultancy. Joining them, please welcome on stage Mr. Patrick Lang, the founder and CEO of Certainty Management. Ms. Zintrice Luntz, the global luxury designer and creative strategist of Maison Zintrice Alto V's. Put your hands together in a massive round of applause. And last but certainly not least, let's welcome on stage H.G. Shamas, the founder and managing director of Authority Publishing. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'd like to introduce our moderator once again, Mr. Prince Al... So sorry, we missed one panelist. Mr. Prince Adlacha, put your hands together for the manager and software engineer at Rich Products. And I'll pass off the mic to our moderator.
Hello, everyone. I can see everyone's craving a nice shot of caffeine here. We'll try to keep it interesting throughout. Have your questions. We'll keep it a very interactive one. All right. I'd like to start off with a very simple case study from Steve Jobs. If you have seen me in a turtleneck, you would have thought I will definitely quote Steve Jobs. 17 years ago, Steve Jobs launched a MacBook Air in a rather interesting way. He took a small envelope and he pulled out the MacBook Air from inside it. This is the first time the world saw a laptop so thin, so incredible, and that memory stayed in people's minds long after Steve Jobs spoke about the specs, how fast the computer is, and everything else. Now, that simple truth that MacBook Air is the thinnest laptop ever is the recipe of memorability. And in today's session, we are going to dissect just that. And we're going to help you figure out, with our experiences, what the art of being memorable means and how to crack it. A quick introduction about myself. I'm Tushar Kalawatiya. I'm the co-founder and creative director of Ad Unit. I've had the privilege of building more than 200 plus brands, which occupy a real good space in people's minds, in their customers. I'll take the next 2 minutes to quickly introduce the panel. I'll give them a few seconds each to introduce themselves. I've had the privilege of speaking with some really wonderful people here. Put a hand together for everyone else. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prajakta Marwa. I run two companies. One is Pandoza Solution Private Limited and another is Device Management Consultancy. Device Management Consultancy is specially focusing towards, building brands, staying memorable, as he's saying. And I'm working in India and Dubai both. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Lang. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I came to the last conference and it was 15 minutes from my house. This one's a little bit further away. Now, I own several companies, a technology firm, a management consulting firm, a holdings company, and I'm a talk show host. I do a weekly talk show called Finding Certainty that's syndicated all over the country. And I have some books I've written, and the list goes on, but I'll pass the baton. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. Speaking of the topic about spotlight, sitting under the spotlight actually has never been my comfort zone. If I want to do it my way, I would rather be sitting in the last row, helping someone else, making an impact, and making it to the spotlight. So, my name is Ejay Chamas. What I do basically is help experts write their stories, publish their books, and make impact. But I help them do that without trying to be memorable. It's about how can they serve more people? How can they make more impact? And guess what? By making impact, this is how they become memorable without actually making an effort. And what I do basically, I serve a team, and that team really works with all the experts, consultants, coaches, in really bringing their life stories into light with their books so that we can make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Hey, good evening, everyone. The art of being memorable, right? For me, being memorable means providing great experiences. Uh, and providing great experience comes from three key pillars: being consistent, positive, and being authentic. So, staying on the subject, so myself, Prince, I lead low code power platform teams at Rich Products. We do software development, automation, AI integrations for our internal business solutions. Happy to be the part of panel here, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
My name is Zentrice Luntz. I recently married. My company is Maison Zentrice Altavis. I run a global luxury design firm. What we actually focus on is creating impact from the company, corporation to the client, and creating and being the bridge between the two. We focus on consulting, events, as well as design in many different areas, from clothing, shoes, websites, graphics, marketing and branding, and try to make sure that we can create something that's memorable for both sides of the fence.
Thank you, Zintrice. Uh, while we start off the panel with a few questions, I'd like each and every one of you to take home a few really good points which can help you build your personal brand or your enterprise brand. So the next question, like Habib rightfully said, he helps his clients not be memorable, he helps them make impact, which the result of which is them becoming memorable, right? So we'll just dissect this down a little bit more, Habib. If we can talk about, if being memorable is sort of a recipe, what are the 2 to 3 ingredients that you would never miss out on uh, in the art of sort of trying to be memorable, trying to make an impact?
So yes, as I said, it's not about trying to be memorable, because actually by trying to be memorable, guess what? You're never gonna be memorable, because people will feel it. It's all about you. It's not about them. You're being more of an ego, egocentric, and I don't think people love that. What people want is, how can you help me be better? How can you help me transform? So I think, to answer your question,
Yeah.
is first of all the emotional truth, because each one of us has lived a certain experience, and once we want to make an impact, people will feel that we've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly. We've been through shit in a way, and they can feel it, and they know that we can help them. The second thing is clarity. I think most of the times, a lot of people and brands, they want to be everything for everyone, so they tend not to become clear on who they are and who they can help, most importantly. So I think we need to be really clear on what we do and how we can help and why we help. Actually, the why for me is really big. And the third thing is our lived experiences. Each one of us has different experience. No AI can emulate that or copy that. AI can help you create content to be maybe to script your post or your content. However, with your lived experiences, wow, you take it to another level. So think of it in that way, that content informs, and we see a lot of content. However, stories transform. And I think we need to share more stories to transform people around us.
Thank you. Patrick, can you add to this from your experiences?
Sure. We struggle with the desire to provide more value to our clients without losing the clarity of who we are. We from the beginning, that was a concern of ours. And it's because we do offer a lot to our clients. We have 10 divisions within our consulting firm of profitability management. There's 10 different divisions through which we help our customers make more and keep more. And yet our theme, our company is named Certainty Management. Our technology company is Certainty Global. We have Certainty Holdings, Certainty Veterans. And so we've built this broad suite of services, if you will, these broad offerings around this theme of certainty. Somebody said consistency is one of the keys. And I think that's what you need. In our experience, that's how we've approached it, is by building upon this one core theme of creating certainty in our clients' lives. We do that in various ways through AI and benefits and cost reduction and tax credit recovery and all these different things. But so I think if you're trying to be more memorable, whether you do one thing or you do 100 things, or you offer a number of services, build it around a theme or a message, build it around a
reason?
platform,
Yeah.
a why that will help guide you in that process. Decide who you are and stick to it, no matter what you do and no matter what you add to your repertoire.
Singularity. That's fantastic. Synthris, can you talk about the art of being memorable and a few non-negotiables which you think make a memorable brand in your experience?
Sure. So for me, one of the most important things working with clients, especially on the business side, in order to be memorable, is very important to also add an element that makes it personable. If you remember when I introduced myself, one of the things I mentioned was being married. Someone may remember that, not because it had anything to do with my business, but it was something that was personable that they can relate to. With luxury, because that's my focus, a lot of the brands that we aspire to have a person behind them. Coco Chanel, Saint Laurent, these different brands actually embrace a person that created a type of idea that we wanted to follow. Because there's so much content out at this point, it's very important, especially for new entrepreneurs and creatives, to create something that's personable that people can relate to, so that they can build upon that to create some type of unity for the customer to become one. We mentioned earlier that some things can become egotistical. You don't want to come off as, I'm doing this, I'm so great, because it causes more distance between you and the consumer. What you really want to do is bring the consumer into your world so that you create something that bonds you guys together so that they can continue to be a customer of your business.
That's interesting. So it's interesting, Zintris, you mentioned that we need to involve our customers into our journey and sort of take them through it, which makes our story more authentic, right? Which makes brand more engaging, more people, more human for that matter, right?
Absolutely.
Prajakta, if you can sort of expand on a few of the brands that you have worked with, where the memorability has stuck out, and what were the core things in their DNA that stood out for you?
So I will start with my personal experience. The experience as a marketer or as a brand builder, which stayed with me, is when you create impact. Okay, so the one of my assignment was working with Incredible India and creating brand the tourism beyond Golden Triangle, that only 3 cities for decades, people were aware of. So when you work with such things where you are creating impact, showcasing so much to the world, and adding to economy, definitely that kind of projects or assignments stay with you as a marketer, and because you have created an impact. But if I have to say, and admire some projects, so recently Cadbury did a very beautiful ad where it said the ad was not just any Cadbury ad, where it promoted a small entrepreneurs. It tried to create small influencers. So honestly, to stay memorable, you have to understand or create impact with your audience or the clients, because we should know that people can, like, forget what they saw or what they hear, but they will never forget what they felt. Okay, so like it's very important that what kind of emotions you trigger to them. Because of that social ad, Cadbury increased its revenue like 2-3 times, where they were not advertising their main product, but they were trying to connect to the audience and creating small influencers. So I feel brands, like, I have to say ki in branding what stays, emotions first, algorithms later, because what you feel will be always in your memory rather than just what you saw or what you heard. So that's the one thing which I seriously feel. There are two more points which I will quickly highlight, which are very important when we
Yeah.
say making brand memorable. Consistency is very important because it creates familiarity. Since last 35 years, Nike has just one line: just do it, and it is consistent. So good brands don't reinvent their core, they reinforce it. So that will always be memorable. And third, which you just said about Steve Jobs, I feel simplicity attracts. Okay, if a client or the audience or your consumer can't remember what in 1 or 2 lines what you do, it is very difficult to be memorable. So like Apple, it's premium, that stays in your mind, so that is very important. Keep it simple. So that's from my side.
So just to summarize the few inputs that we had from the panel so far, we have spoken about leading with emotional truth. We have spoken about keeping people at the center of things and not solving for memorability, but solving for impact. And when you lead with impact, memorability is a byproduct, right? I'm sure if I just say Tudum, everyone suddenly will remember the Netflix logo, sonic boom sound, right? That's the logo animation for Netflix. And that is sort of reinforced so hard in our brains. Imagine if Netflix changes that every week or say every month. Uh, this is a fatigue that I often see with brands where they want to change things often and not run with something for a very long period of time. And I think that's very important as marketers and as people who want to build your personal brand. Identify that one emotional truth, do it consistently, and do it for a long period of time unless it changes your core DNA. While we do this, I would like to open the panel for the next question, which is how do in this race where everyone wants a, so when I speak to a lot of my clients who are our partners, I often tell them that branding is not a logo, it's not a feeling, it's how much space you have in people's mind. It's almost like real estate, it's quite expensive, right? It's how much time you have in people's mind, how much they remember you in the certain space. So when you're building a brand, how do you stay clear from being memorable versus being someone who's very noisy? uh, Zintris, can you start? Maybe give us a few luxury brand references. Thank you.
Of course. So, one of the things, of course, is going to be being consistent. Creating.
Zintris, can you please bring the
Oh,
mic a little closer?
sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about that. So one of the things, of course, is going to be staying consistent. That's going to be very important, but consistent in what? Your aesthetic, the way you're showing up, your verbiage. And if you begin to change those things, then you begin to lose your audience. With social media, I believe it's at least 7 times someone needs to see a piece of content of yours before they even begin to remember it. It may actually be 12 at this point now. But with that being said, as entrepreneurs and new business owners, we may post something 4 or 5 times and say, I'm not getting any results from this. So I'm going to switch it up. People aren't responding. And it's not that they're not responding because they don't like what you're actually showing them. They just haven't connected yet. It's so much information that is being flooded through their minds on a consistent basis that it takes time for them to actually realize it's you, connect it to your branding, and remember it for the next time they see you. And when I say that, is it basically up to 12 times before they even remember the brand's name if you're new. So you're going to have to be very strategic in understanding, um, not from a personal perspective, because a lot of times we put our brands become our passions. Starting out as a luxury designer, in couture, everything that I created was part of my passion, so I was very connected to it. Separating that as a brand or a company and a founder, I had to understand that things are more strategic. And so now I need to see the numbers, use the data, and connect to people efficiently to see the results. And that it takes time to separate that if that's something that you struggle with, but it is definitely effective in creating that memorability.
Thank you, Zintris.
You're welcome.
Prince, yeah.
Yes. Some of the points you mentioned, Zintris, around the human-centric behavior, the relevance, the cultural relevance, and the consistent and combining all of this with the competence slash right product is going to make you do the right thing. One, if I take the example from Amul brand, their campaign around the taste of India holds the Guinness Book of the World Records for running the most longest advertisement campaign.
Yes.
And um, if anybody is from India, the Amul brand has the one baby girl character on their every product, and it has become now the significance of the brand itself, right? So I would
Absolutely.
say cutting the noise also means that be staying authentic, unique, and at the same time not changing the core um behavior, the core identity of the brand is going to
Absolutely.
make you memorable. As you said, like it takes at least 12 times or 7 times to watch a single content video, and it's going to start making people, oh, I know this. And that's what Amul did in India. So I believe, and then cutting noise part, I believe, is around competence. So while you create the human centric touch, it's also important to make sure the product, the value that you're delivering is right and making impact to your customers, to the people around you, and that will help you create a brand remembrance, as well as not creating any noise for
Just
people.
to add to what Prince said, Amul is India's largest dairy. It's also the world's largest cooperative company. And they have been doing ads. It is, in fact, in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest running campaigns. They have been doing topicals way before Instagram introduced trends and topicals, right? So, and in all their ads, you will see that Amul talks about celebrating India in every way. So, the spirit of India in a very positive way is, captured in all of Amul's campaigns. I would just like to start. Uh, Habib, this one's for you. I- in an era where AI can generate flawless content, right? I mean, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, in fact, does really good, exceptional work in drafting really good, polished content. What human qualities will win attention, and what do you think will stay memorable in people's mind?
I think we should reverse the question a bit and in the future think, what can I do with my brand or my business to help more people, to serve more people? And by doing that, we really become more memorable. So let me give an example. You mentioned a while ago the story of Nike or the brand of Nike. So if my 8-year-old son, oh, he's into basketball and playing stuff, and so he always wants a certain shoes of Nike because he thinks it's gonna be the next Jordan. So Nike for an 8 years old makes him think he's empowered to become the next Jordan.
Yeah.
If you look at any market, you have the milk. Usually Nestle is great at that. When Nestle communicates any brand in any market, it makes the mother feels the one empowered. The brand is helping the mom, but the mom is the one who's raising the children and making them grow. If you look at Tony Robbins, if you look at personal brands, Tony Robbins shared his story through his books before he filled stages. So people connected to him. He made people understand themselves through his stories. So they made sense out. They made sense to their stories because of his story. And I think that is all about how can we relate, how can our brands relate to people, but by empowering them, by making them feel they are the heroes, and the brand is only the guide or the empowering agent to help them achieve that.
Peter, would you like?
I have a
Patrick?
comment on that. We've talked about consistency. We've talked about being authentic. But I think you have to tackle this topic of being memorable from multiple angles as well. Whether it's through your social media, it's through speaking and writing and publishing and producing. And the more you can get your message out there, the better. But I'm also a firm believer that the more real you can be in that messaging and vulnerable. It's one of the reasons I started my radio show was I wanted to be able to get the message out about who I really am, because who I am is who our company is. And it gives me an opportunity every week, to send that message that I'm a big doofus making it up as I go along, and and I'm a real person. I talk death, divorce, and marriage. I talk about my kids. I talk about what we're doing in the community with helping students and veterans, and and they hear it from me in my voice, right? They hear it and they believe it because it's real, right? And I don't think you have to be perfect to be real. We do social media. We consistently try to get our messaging out, but it's not my favorite because that's polished and nice looking, and and so forth. And we have a great social media lady who does that for us. But my favorite is my weekly show. In fact, I used to do interviews every week, and on accident one month, I had a guest who wasn't able to get in through Zoom to do this interview, and I had to do a monologue for the full hour, no preparation, about 2 minutes of notice, and I talked for the whole hour. And I was really able to express myself and what I thought. I just talked about how to create certainty in your life. And I enjoyed it so much that Thanksgiving I did one about gratitude. And then I decided to start doing one every month. And I've been going through the alphabet, analyzing different principles of certainty, accountability, balance, composure, discipline, etc. And so I guess it's a little bit selfish because I really enjoy it, right? I like talking, but I'll shut up now. But but it's given me an opportunity to send that message, right? And do it even more. When I'm interviewing someone, I ask questions and we have some dialogue, but they do most of the talking. Intentionally doing a monologue the first Wednesday of every month allows me to do more and say more and send that message more effectively. And so I just think you need to attack it from different angles, and that's how I've tried to do it. It seems to be working.
Absolutely, brother. Please.
Because your question was like, in today's world, the AI is, taking over so much. Obviously, AI has become our life and everywhere we can see. But as a marketer, we need to, understand one thing. We are a marketer and our job is to connect to our audience and to our,
Absolutely.
people who are we are talking, and have that memorable moment with them, or, we need to, our brand to be remembered. So like, I'm seeing, like, I'm myself manage a social media company, and I see lot of AI trends coming, people making left, right, center content over a AI. They look good, but none of them are memorable, because I feel that's noise. Okay, so many things which I can't relate, beautiful content, like, the AI can do magic, they can make your still picture, move left, right, center, but still nothing stays with me. We as a marketer need to use it very carefully, instead of, just using AI to produce content. Why don't we think it like, I have 100 people's list, make a personalized content for them, or just, a voice note with a personal name ki, hey Tushar, how are you, I am talking from this. That can be a real use of AI, where you are making the content personalized. Okay, so that is something, because at the end we should know people like to connect, and that's where the memories, are there. So that's what I
That's a
feel,
great point,
noise
Prajakta.
versus,
That's a great point. So, uh, the Tony Robbins example was quite great. So, even in his books, he talks about how he failed and what was those failures that led to the success. So, you learn a lot from your failures than you learn from your successes, right? So,
Exactly.
the Tony Robbins example is a great example. In fact, we have Patrick here who's sort of embodying this vision, right? So he's being vulnerable, he's being himself in front of the camera in on his podcast, right? When he's talking, he's not presenting himself as this I know it all or I'm a great person. He's talking about how he is as a person, as a friend, as a father, as a husband, right? So that's very important, right? Your customers need to connect with you. They need to know what sort of a person you are, what sort of a brand you are, what sort of emotions you carry, and they can connect with you.
Actually, it's just adding on the vulnerability, and thanks for mentioning that, Patrick. So I remember when I first failed in my business because I wanted things to be perfect, very well polished, scripted, all
Yep.
that blah blah blah, and I failed big time. It costed me really a lot of time and money. But when I started to share my failure, people started to connect with me on my next business, and they said, "Wow, this guy is in our shoes. We're failing now. He failed before, and that's
Yes.
what that's what I remember. They join us. They become our clients because they knew that I failed, and now they feel they are in my shoes, and they tell us, "Please help us." So I think being vulnerable
Absolutely.
is very personal, and this is why people relate to us, and they feel that yes, we can work together rather than with a brand out there and unreachable or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing, if I can interject,
Yes, Patrick.
with any sort of failure, right? We see CEOs or other dignitaries or celebrities who make big mistakes. And there are those who try to cover it up, gloss it over, make excuses, point fingers. And then there's that few who say, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I really messed up. And they take accountability, right?
Yep.
I mentioned starting my monologue. The very first one I did when I was going through the alphabet was A is for accountability. I think it's the foundation of certainty. It's the foundation of being memorable. It's the foundation of authenticity, being accountable, right? Taking ownership and admitting that you're not perfect. And to his point, customers love that. You know,
Absolutely.
people out in social media on the internet, they love someone who is real and admits when they're not perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll just branch out the session with what Prajakta said. We should not chase brands, we should not chase trends, rather, on social media or any other place, but rather focus on using AI as a technology to personalize our messages, right? So, I think all of us sitting here, if you have brands, if you have agencies that you're working for, please stop doing topicals. It makes no sense. Honestly, just for the likes, it's not going to get you anything else. It's a 12-hour fame at max, a long shot in the dark. But when was the last time you saw Apple or Nike, like we all mentioned, do a trend? No, we should rather be a trendsetter, do something that people can run with a very long period of time, create something meaningful. I want to talk about production qualities here, right? When uh, I see this a lot of s- I see this with a lot of small and medium-sized enterprises. They get stuck in trying to get the best production for their company, you know. And maybe Patrick, you can answer here because you have built so many companies from scratch. Should you chase a high quality output that's only one piece, or should you run with what's available and do more of it and increase the production qualities on the way?
Can you repeat that? I didn't quite understand.
A lot of people get sucked into creating something perfect. I'm talking about production values. So, for example, if you're putting out a piece of content, or if you're starting out a brand, then a lot of people get hung over. I will crack the best logo, I will crack the best brand deck, and only then I'll hit the market. And oftentimes it's too late because they're chasing perfection and they hit the market too late. Uh, Versus people who bootstrap, they innovate things on the go and they are most likely to be the brands where the logo doesn't matter, the story is that matters if they run with it?
Oh, I love this topic. As I said, I'm a big doofus making it up as I go along. That's an Americanism. That's a US phrase that basically means you're an idiot, right? I think well, someone is working to be perfect, have a logo perfect, a perfect logo, a perfect brand, a perfect message. Others have already gone and made their millions. They've left them in the dust because they got out and went to work. I'm a visionary. I can see ideas I want to do, other companies we want to do, and we just go do it. We step into the dark and we go to work. And we make a lot of mistakes. And we've started with vendors. We decided we're not a good fit and backed up. And you get better at it, right? You build a good team, you put in systems, you get more experience. But to answer your question, I think you should always just get started. Sure, you have to have some basics, but you learn by doing, you perfect over time. You will steadily not only become better at what you do, but become more memorable as you go along. And you'll have a story to tell about how you got there. Your customers will say they appreciate it, that he made mistakes, that he wasn't perfect, that his company grew just like theirs is growing, and they can
Yeah.
resonate and relate to what you're doing. So I will always say go do it first and then improve over time.
Improve over time. Perfect. The next question, Zindris, we can start this with you. Fast forward 2 years from now, what habits should people and brands build now so work is remembered going forward?
Well, I have two parts. I want to piggyback off Patrick said first, and maybe as Americans, we have the audacity to just think we're going to be great at everything, and so we'll start and realize that it is the journey. And most people, before they get started, they do want to have everything perfect, as Jay said, but for the most part, the journey is the story. The journey is the process for you to become the person that can have that $1 million brand or that brand that's going to be memorable. Now, while I wanted to add to that, I did forget what the question was. Can you ask me that one more, one more time?
The question is fast forward 2 years, what should people and brands do now that will make them memorable and they'll make it count 2 years, 3 years from now?
So moving forward, and the way we are moving with social media, I don't know the age of everyone up here, but I remember a time when computers were just beginning to be in homes, and so that was, oh my gosh, having a website was such a huge thing for your company. Where we are now, social media and creating an online personal presence that people can actually go to and click on and understand who you are, is not just affecting the celebrities and the people with 1 million followers. That is also going to be affecting each and every smaller brand, entrepreneur, creative that wants to have some type of platform. People want to know who you are. People want to know if you're authentic, and people want to believe in you. We have so many things going on in this world that causes people to mistrust, to distrust others and what their message is and what you're saying. So saying something or doing something online, just like it can cost you your job if you were corporate, it can cause you issues in families and things to that nature. It will also cost you your business. So building a good, positive, personal brand that people can not only relate to, but are proud to be associated with is going to be very important for brands.
I would like to add to this. There are a lot of things with, because the way everything is changing, AI is taking over, next generations, with the way they are, thinking, everything is so fast changing. There are a lot of things as a marketer we need to do so that we are, remembered. But one thing always works is make your audience or make your consumer part of the experience, because people will never forget if they are part of that ad, or the whole experience what you created. um, that's something which always stays, because it's something where they have felt it. So that's something I always think will stay.
So I think we build for meaning. We'll conclude this session and then with a small conclusion from all of us, and then open for questions. Uh, from this conversation that all of us had, what would be one line takeaway for the audience, right? Like something that they can take home from what we were all speaking. We spoke about doing things consistently. We spoke about things doing for a very long time. So if all of you from your personal experiences can give a one line conclusion, that will be great.
If I have to like sum it up in very short, there are three things which I always focus to be memorable: is being emotional, being relevant, and being consistent. That will create some memorability for the brand or a person.
Go ahead, ladies first.
Oh, really? Okay. So I think the most important thing, but the hardest thing to do, is to be authentic. And one of the things I've been focusing on the most of my clients is unbecoming. We try to become so many different things and so many different people, but the authentic version of yourself, the one that wanted to create the business, the one that had the idea, sometimes from a child, that version of you is the version people want to see. People will connect to that person. You don't have to change everything about yourself in order to be memorable. Getting back to the core of who you are will make you memorable.
Um, Going next, I would say perfection over progress over perfection. So getting started is one key takeaway. And around AI, I would say use AI as your assistant. Let AI help you draft your message, but then you go ahead and earn the moment and bring that spotlight to the work that you are delivering and create the most authentic and yeah, be authentic. I think, as you said, like being authentic is the most important thing. So do that and stay consistent with what you're doing. I think you will make success.
You wanna go
Shamas.
ahead,
Go
Patrick?
ahead.
All right, from my end, the way I see it is basically we spoke about being authentic, being vulnerable, 100%. I think also what we need to do is once we understand the fears and the aspirations of our target audience, so what makes them wake up at 3 a.m., who they want to be, and we offer them the solutions. So we're listening to them. We make them feel we're part of their journey. We stick our brands and we stick with them. But most importantly, after we give them the product or services, we need to listen to their voice again. We need to listen to feedback. Are we
Feedback.
doing it the right way? Are we failing? Are we letting them down? How can we improve? So I think the more we understand who we are serving along the journey, the more we can keep on improving ourselves so that we make sure we're always with them for the long run and they always stay with us and with our brand.
Great.
I
Patrick.
couldn't have said it better. Great minds think alike. Right? I was going to say that I think we talk a lot about what we can do, what we should do, and who we are, and how we should act, and what we should say, and when we should say it. And unfortunately, that sends the message that we should focus on ourselves, our business, our interests, our goals, our numbers. I think we should throw all of that out the window. Not that they're not important, but they should come secondary, just as my friend here said, to our customer. We have to remember we have two ears and one mouth. We have to put their needs and their desires ahead of our own. If we can think about that and not just make it a nice add on frosting on the cake, it's not just an afterthought. I was in a panel earlier this morning. We were talking about purpose in our work. And one of the guys named Don, he He said, purpose is not a skin, it's the whole body. It's what the entire project should be built upon because then it influences everything else. I think the same applies with being memorable. You become memorable by forgetting about yourself. They say you lose yourself in the service of others. That's when you become memorable. And you also, not only will you become memorable in the process, you'll become more successful. You'll enjoy your work more, find more satisfaction in it. You'll touch others and create ripple effects that grow into snowballs as they grow and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you'll impact potentially millions.
That's
But remember that you do it by forgetting yourself. Everything else takes care of itself.
absolutely. I think
beautifully
a
said.
great one-line conclusion before we open for questions will be, if we create enough value for others, value will come chasing us and memorability will happen by default. So make authenticity great again, and we'll open up for questions. Maybe we have 5 minutes, so we maybe can take 2 questions. Yes, please.
In the other room, and I was so happy that you might have been a bit late, so I got some of the nuggets and nuggets of information. So I myself, I'm a holistic fertility expert, and I help women get pregnant naturally and successfully. But my problem is that I feel that my target audience, they don't care about me, but they care about the results that I serve others. So they don't really care what I'm doing. That's my perception. So what's the advice that you would give to someone like me? I had my own infertility journey. My tagline is that I've become the therapist I couldn't find, and somebody
Patrick, can I
saw
take this?
me and she called me the womb lady, and I'm taking that because I quite like that. And I keep on changing my message. And then I also have the imposter syndrome of, I need my messages to be perfect. I can't slip up. I can't do this, which I think you have addressed. But, and also my clients are just caring for their results. So what do I do then?
I think you lead with the truth, right? Like Simon Sinek said, start with why. So I think an interesting thing to do, instead of talking about yourself, you talk about the people who you have helped, who are now happy, right? And they are the brand ambassadors for you. So you get their stories out and tell people that this is how I've helped these people. I would love to have a chat with you. And do not I would not chase a quality of content or being perfect out there. I would keep the story as realistic as possible. If it's too polished, it will seem fake. So keep it as realistic as possible, and you will, and don't pivot too much. That's the feedback I would give.
Thank you.
I would add to that it's an old adage. You've probably heard this many times, but people don't care about what you know until they know how much you care. And it's like we've all experienced this, right? It might be at a conference like this, at a family reunion, or wherever. You ask good questions, you get someone talking about themselves. They'll talk the entire time, and at the end, they think, "Wow, that was a great conversation." But they enjoyed it so much, and all you did was ask good questions, right? You got them opening up. A great company asks good questions of its customers. That's how you build rapport. That's how you build trust. That's how you differentiate yourself from others. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on them, and you'll become memorable. You'll do more business. You'll create those ripple effects, and it will impact them.
Actually, just to add to that
Well,
story, one of our authors is also into infertility. She's a doctor, infertility doctor, and she had her own story of having difficulty getting a child. Yeah. So when she shares with her clients that I'm not only a doctor, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, and I've been through a lot of stuff, they relate to her. And then she asks them the right questions because she's been in their shoes. She builds rapport with them, and then they open up with trust. And guess what? When that trust is between a patient or a person with a doctor, they start to tell you things they usually don't tell you, and you will get to the core of the problem, because sometimes the problem would not be only with the woman she's seeing. Maybe it's from the partner sometimes. So you need really to build that rapport for them to open up, and really for you to go into their lives and understand the stories.
The
Okay.
thing
Yeah,
is,
sorry, I keep talking, but do what you can to find common ground. Find things in common. Your story is great because they're mothers. They want to be mothers. But anything we can do to find common ground with someone, find things in common. I say I can find something in common with anyone, even a skinhead who hates everybody. Hey, probably loves his kids, right? I can find something in common with anyone. And if you do that, you can do well.
Okay, I have a few theories when I'm consulting clients. One of them is, who are you in their lives? I would say for you, you're the best friend. Use the best friend theory. So think about how you would speak to your best friend. Like, okay, and she's coming to you with these problems and she's crying, and you're like, okay, come over. I'll hear you out. I want to talk to you. How would you share your stories with your best friend? How would you engage with her? How would you allow her to have space to speak? What questions would you ask her? When you come from that place, you're not coming from like a mother figure. You're not coming from just the therapist side. You want to be a friend, because this is a very intimate situation that women will go to their best friends with. So when you think of it from that perspective, and I hope that helps, you can begin to like create content and do your messaging from the best friend perspective.
I totally understand that. And in this, because there's no screen here,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fabulous. But as soon as that phone goes to video myself, I don't know what happens.
And it's because now, who are you speaking to? Yourself? So like in our minds, we have to create who's on the other side of that camera, because it's not us. Even though you're looking at yourself, it's not us. But if you're talking to your best friend, then you can relate to them. You can create content that you know that they will want to hear, and you can begin to feel the connection for yourself, so that the customer starts feeling
Oh,
the
thank you.
connection.
I would like to add few more things to this, like, because first of all, the congratulations for doing such a wonderful job. And one thing is very important is your audience, or the target audience, is very vulnerable. Okay. And they need confidence. And it's not one aspect which is going to give them a confidence, the testimonials of other moms, like, the case studies, what you did, and even they want to know who is going to help me with my critical situation. So one thing will definitely not work here. There are a lot of values which, or the confidence for the because it's a very vulnerable situation for your clients, so to build that confidence, you need to connect to them through multiple ways. Okay, it's not one simple way. And because they have already gone through lot emotional things, they must have tried few more doctors and they are not successful. Giving your success stories, and being like, you being in front of them is very much important in your case. That's what my take is.
And gentlemen, please put your hands together in a massive round of applause for all of our panelists. That was truly wonderful. Thank you for shedding some insight and really making this conversation and including our audience so very heavily in the panel. And now, if we could step forward to take a picture together.